Are werewolves and Dogman real? Illinois might not seem to be the place for werewolf encounters, but perhaps this is the case. This is a story about an encounter from west-central Illinois in the 1980s. Argyle Lake State Park is located in west-central Illinois, nestled among the rolling hills and farmland of McDonough County. The centerpiece of the park is the large, serene Argyle Lake. The 1,700-acre park is home to the 93-acre Argyle Lake and 5 miles of hiking trails and wooded campsites. The land for the state park was purchased by the state in 1948 from local farmers. The area now occupied by the lake was once the home of Argyle Hollow, part of the 19th-century stagecoach route between Galena and Beardstown. The woods around Argyle Lake are a mix of oak, hickory, maple, and pine trees that stay green year-round. In autumn, splashes of red, gold, and orange leaves cover the forest floor. The secluded trails under the canopy of trees are teeming with wildlife like deer, foxes, raccoons, squirrels, and all types of birds. The story is taken from an oral interview from 2022. Here is the story. My name's Jack and I grew up in the small town of Colchester, Illinois, located in McDonough County. It was the mid-1980s and I lived with my parents in an old rundown house near the edge of town. Our backyard bordered Argyle Lake State Park and its dense woods. I spent countless hours wandering those peaceful trails and exploring the hidden clearings far from any other people. When I wasn't in school, I spent most of my free time wandering the woods behind our property. There was something magical about being alone among the trees and wild animals. It was my escape from my turbulent home life. Dad drank heavily and had a mean temper. The woods were my refuge from his angry outbursts. Out in the park, I could forget about his bad behavior for a while. I remember one hot night in August of 1985, when I was 16 years old. I snuck out of the house around midnight after my parents went to sleep. There was a full moon shining brightly in the clear night sky. The crickets were chirping loudly as I made my way along the familiar path to my favorite clearing in the woods. As I entered the moonlit clearing, I breathed in the fresh night air. I leaned against the trunk of a large oak tree and looked up at the stars peeking through the canopy of leaves. This is where I came to think and sort through my teenage troubles. Out here I didn't have to worry about my dad's drinking or my mom's financial struggles. It was just me and nature. After sitting quietly for a while, I heard a twig snap in the distance. At first I thought it might be a deer or other wildlife. But then I detected heavy footsteps and the underbrush rustling. This was no deer. I sat up straight and scanned the dark tree line for signs of movement. A large shadowy figure emerged from the trees. Even in the moonlight I could tell this was no ordinary animal. It moved on 2 legs and stood at least 7 feet tall. Its hulking frame was covered in shaggy gray hair. Pointed ears twitched atop its wolf-like head. My heart pounded as its yellow eyes focused on me. The massive canine creature sniffed the air and let out a bone-chilling howl. Fear paralyzed me as it crept toward my tree. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Suddenly it crouched down and leapt toward me with lightning speed. Pure adrenaline kicked in and I scrambled to my feet. I sprinted through the woods faster than I ever had before. I heard the pounding of its paws and snarling breaths gaining on me from behind. But I didn't dare look back. By some miracle, I burst out of the woods and raced all the way home. I collapsed on my porch, chest heaving, barely able to believe I had escaped. In retrospect, that thing could have caught me easily. It let me go. I meant to give me a good scare. That is no way I outran that creature. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't think anybody would believe me. Werewolves in Illinois, really? I have kept this story quiet. To this day, almost 40 years later, I still wonder if what I saw that night was real. A werewolf seems impossible. But the fear I felt was very real indeed. Whatever it was lurks somewhere deep in those woods around Argyle Lake, and the memory will haunt me forever. Whenever I pass those woods, I shudder remembering that moonlit encounter with the unknown. And that ends the account. Deep within the shady interior of Argyle Lake State Park is where the old-growth forest still remains undisturbed. Massive oak trunks wider than cars tower overhead, keeping the forest floor below in perpetual dusk. It's easy to lose your sense of direction amidst the endless rows of trees here. Wandering these trails, you get the eerie feeling of being watched from the shadows. For locals, Argyle Lake State Park has been a popular recreation spot for generations. But deep in its most remote corners, some say mysterious creatures still lurk in the woods today. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to Connect Paranormal. This will allow us to make more videos.